Halo sa lahat. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi, magandang araw. Sana maganda ang araw mo ngayon. Ako si Lex at maligayang... Oh my god, I'm gonna do this. Ako si Lex at maligayang pagbalik sa GTA 5. Hello everyone! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Hope you're having an amazing day today. My name is Lex and welcome back to some more GTA 5. That was my attempt at Tagalog, which is a language that I have never ever attempted to speak ever in my life, so I have absolutely no idea if I was even close. So yeah, I apologize to all the Filipinos that are watching that might be offended at my terrible attempt at Tagalog, but hopefully it's okay. Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to show you a mod that's actually not going to make for a long video, maybe. I don't know, maybe that will excite some of you because we've had some pretty long videos recently. And what I want to do today is check out a mod that does something that I've always wanted to see in GTA 5. And that is the ability to change the characters' cars. Now, currently I am driving as Franklin, and you might notice the number plate is FC 1988. This is Franklin's car inside this game. Now, if I was actually to start this game up and I was to actually load up my save game, this would be the car that would appear outside my house. Check this out. Okay, so here we are spawned in from our save game, and if you look in the bottom left, you can see that the car is showing up on the minimap. Now, all I have to do is look outside, and you can see that I am still using the good old Vapid Uranus that I have set for Franklin's car. This is all working inside the game. Now, there are a few issues with this that I have to point out. First of all, this car is technically not supposed to work because this is only a two-door car. The game wants you to have a four-door car because you need to have at least 4 seats because you will be using your car in the missions of the game. Now, what this mod does is it does actually allow you to do these. You can toggle it on and off, but you have to be aware that this can sort of play havoc with your save game. This is a risk that I've taken for this video because in this video, I just want to do the perfect cars, the cars that I think perfectly suit these characters, much more than the cars that they've given us. So, in my opinion, this is the sort of car Franklin would drive. This is sort of like, it looks like a car that a real car head, a real car enthusiast would drive. You know, it's just a cool, classic car. It looks like an old Mustang. It's all tuned up. I think this is a very Franklin car. So that is why I've given this car to Franklin. So in this video, I'm also going to be doing Michael's and Trevor's cars as well. Trying to find something that just sums them up perfectly. Much better than the cars that we already have in the game. So this is Franklin's one all done. So let's actually just move over to another character and I'll show you how this whole thing works. Okay, so before we get any further and I show you all this stuff, I'm going to be featuring some comments and questions on the screen right now. If you would like your comments and questions featured, you can leave them in the comment section below. I keep forgetting to almost do these in all of my videos. In fact, I don't need to go for the house, do I? I keep almost forgetting, and I think in the last video I did actually do that, and so I just had to sort of chuck the comments in, so yeah. Now, this one, my car's actually parked outside. Interestingly, this is slightly different to usual, but here you can see this is Michael's typical car. Now, if you're wondering why I keep having these strange pink wheels in these, it's because I actually, a long time ago, I actually did it in a video. I had a mod that added some cool extra wheels, and they were supposed to be pink BBS RSs, but obviously I got rid of that mod, and it sort of left me with these wheels in pink, and it looks pretty awful. But I think that there is a car that is better suited for Michael, or at least I think we could find one, because actually I don't have one in mind yet. But I'm sure we could find one that suits him better than this car. Because he is a dad. And I think we should get a dad car. But I'm not sure this is right for Michael. So what I'm going to do is... Oh, I could grab that. I could actually use that. Okay, actually, let's do this. I'm going to do a couple of random cars that aren't right. Just to show you how this is all going to work. If I can actually catch up with that Vinewood bus. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Right, if we just get this woman out of the car. There we go. Oh, God, what's going on here? He just missed me carjacking someone. That was good timing. Okay, so I can actually make this thing work for Michael. Now, it's not really... God, there's all sorts of hell going on back there. Everyone's running away. But obviously, this isn't really going to work because it's a two-door, because it doesn't have... Actually, I think this does have the right amount of seats, but I'm not sure the game knows what to do with it. So if I press F7 now, you can see this is the character vehicle mod. So we have the mod activated, which means that when you start the game up, it's already working and you don't have to reactivate it and respawn the cars in. And if we just go through here, you can see this is the compatible story vehicles only checkbox. It says here, only cars compatible with story mode should be saved. Warning, disabling this will cause conflicts with story mode missions. So, of course, if you just want to have the 2 doors and you don't want it to work with missions, then it's okay. But if you want it to work with missions, you have to make sure that a car is compatible. And you would know it's compatible because when you go to save current vehicle, it should actually tell you off. So let's try and give this one. Yeah, it just says vehicle class not supported. So I'm just going to go ahead, untick that, and click save. And this makes Michael's car now the Vinewood tour bus. You could change it to be anything. You can make it a tank. You can make it a truck. Anything you can think of. Helicopters, planes, they can all become the characters that your car, or the cars that your characters drive. Almost got those words all mixed up. My words are all mixing up. What the hell's going on with that? So what I could do now is I can actually jump back out of this menu. And if I was to save my game and start up again, we should be able to come outside and find this parked on the driveway. Okay, so here we are. I've loaded up Michael's save game. And if I walk outside, here it is, parked in my space. Our Vinewood tour bus. This is absolutely ridiculous. So this is all just quite silly. You can make it whatever you want. Now I'm going to try and find us a car that really suits Michael, so we can have something a bit better than the Vinewood tour bus, because that is a bit silly. Okay, so we know Michael's background is sort of, he is a father, he's a runaway, he's had to hide his identity and move out to LA from Canada, and he's got all of these problems, and he's pretty gangster, I would say. He's a corrupt man, and I think that this sort of guy would drive something that is expensive, but also family orientated. So that's why I'm possibly thinking an SUV for Michael. So let's just go through to menu, go to vehicle options, go to vehicle spawner, and let's see what we have in SUVs. So we have the Baller, we have another Bullet. There isn't actually a preview available for that one. Let's spawn that one in. Okay, so that's that one. That's actually not fancy enough, I think. So then we have this one. And then we have a long wheelbase version. Then we have armored version. Now, see, the armored version is something that I think would suit Michael quite well, as he is the sort of guy who might need to have an armored vehicle. But let's see what else we have. There is the BJXL. Oh, so that's what that thing's called. It's called the BJXL. Great. We have the Cavalcade, which is this one, which is quite similar to the one we had from GTA 4. We have the Dubster, which is the bigger... that's like the G-Wagon, Mercedes G-Wagon. There's the FQ2. Annoyingly, there isn't sort of previews for these cars, so I'm just going to have to spawn most of these in just to have a look. This one's alright, but again, it's not really fancy enough. Then we have the Granger, which is... that's really not suitable, actually. I think that's just a bit too much for him. Then we have the Gresley, which is not that great. The Habanero, which is pretty basic. The Huntley S. Now, this isn't bad. This is quite a fancy, nice, upmarket SUV, but I think we could do better than that. So the Landstalker is going to be the base model. That's the sort of thing he wouldn't have. Maybe that was what he may have had back in the day, but we want something nice and fancy now. The Radius is going to be... oh, that's more of a people carrier. But that is quite fancy looking. That's quite nice, but maybe not fancy enough. Then there's the Ricotto. See, that is also made by whatever the Audi company is in this game. I can't remember now. Can't remember what it is. But at least that's the same make as the car that we had before, so that's quite a good change. Or we have the Seminole, the Serrano. That's no good. Or the XLS, which is one of the new ones. Actually, the XLS Armoured could be quite a good vehicle for Michael, actually. But actually, I just thought, because I have all my GTA 4 cars still on here, maybe, like with Franklin, where he has the Uranus Vapid, which is a GTA 4 car, maybe I could find something in here that would suit Michael. So the Cavalcade FXT is definitely not right. That's really not very Michael. We have this Branto. I mean, that's really not like him either. I'm not going to try and go through all of these, because some of these are going to be completely wrong. See, the Presidente actually works. Although the Battle of Gay Tony one is probably... or the Ballad of Gay Tony. Why do I always keep calling it the Battle of Gay Tony? The Ballad of Gay Tony. This version is actually pretty nice, but I'm not too sure. This is actually... the style of this car seems quite almost Saints Row in comparison to the ones that we had in GTA 5. You can really see how, like, Rockstar's team have changed their styles and stuff when they actually make all these fake cars. That's pretty interesting, actually. I'm sure I actually noticed that in the video that I did about all these cars. Yeah, I'm not sure about these. What about... let's just have a look around here. We've got the Stockade, which is not really that good. A clean Bodie, which would probably suit a more cleaned up Trevor, but No, not so much Michael in this case. I mean, we could get him a proper dad wagon. This is great. But it's definitely not fancy enough for Michael, I think. And well, other than that, I mean, we've got things like the Huntley, which is actually, that's not bad either, is it really? The Huntley. That's quite a Michael car. I think we could actually go for something like that. Maybe, actually, no, the Fortune is not really what we want. What have we got for the Mayabatsu Vincent? Oh, no, that's that one. Okay, well, I think then, what I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for a GTA 5 car with this one, as we already went for the GTA 4 car with Michael, for Franklin. I think we should go down to SUVs, and I think we should go for either the XLS or the Ricotto. I think considering the amount of money that Michael has made from all of his bank jobs and stuff, without me trying to spoil the story too much, I think we might go for the XLS Armoured. But I think we're going to have to go and tune this thing up because it's a bit plain in its standard form. So let's go and take this to Los Santos Customs and see what we can do to it. Okay, so we can't actually do much to this, but I was thinking of just changing the colour at least because I think maybe Michael wouldn't have that. So let's just go for uprated engine, and we'll go for some xenon lights. We'll go for uprated armor as well, just on top of the whole bulletproofness. Upgraded brakes. We'll go for just a nice, normal San Andreas number plate. We'll go for a respray in a classic. See, now we've got a shiny thing. I think it looks better than having it in matte. I think this would suit Michael more. But not Michael Moore. Why did I say that? I think that a blue is actually quite a Michael colour, which is what I went for in the previous car. So I think I might end up doing the same again, but I think I'll go for a metallic this time. Okay, I'm quite liking this dark blue, so I think I'm going to go for that. I think that's quite a nice Michael car colour, so we're going to go for that. Then on the suspension, we can stick some competition suspension on, go for race transmission, stick our turbo on, and I think the wheels are probably going to be okay, but let's just try and see what other ones we can get. Well, they're not that bad actually, but I quite like the ones with the lettering on them, so I'm not sure. Maybe not. Yeah, this looks so much better like that, so let's just keep it like that. Or maybe we can go for some sports wheels, because I think that might be quite a Michael thing to do actually. Instead of having those big sort of rugged wheels, I think this might be more Michael style. Actually, considering the massive arch gap that we've got, I think these wheels probably don't look that great, so sod it. I'm going to keep these stock wheels, as they do look pretty badass. And that's pretty much that done. So let's just go exit, and we can now assign this as our car. And this time we can actually get this to work with all the proper stuff. So this will be able to be used for every single mission in the game. Okay, so now we've pressed F7, we can now go ahead and save this as our current vehicle. And that should mean if we go and jump out of this menu and get out of the car, there we go. It does actually show it on the mini-map to show that this is now assigned. So if I was to go ahead and save the game and start it all up again, this would appear just like it did with the Vinewood tour bus. This is definitely a very cool Michael car. I'll be very interested actually, guys. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think is perhaps a better car for Michael? Maybe you've got better ideas. Maybe you'd go for this one, in fact. Let me know in the comment section below. But I think now it's time to move on to Trevor. Let's see what Trevor's up to. Okay, well, here we are with Trevor. And where is his truck? Aha, there it is, all the way over there. So out of all of the characters in this game, I'd say that Trevor has the car that is most likely suited to him. And that is just because when we first see Trevor, he is sort of like down on his luck. He doesn't have much money. And this is sort of like, this is his thing. This is probably the truck that he's had for a really long time. You can kind of get that because of the number plate Betty 32. And the problem is, I don't really want to spoil this, but as we go along the story mode, Trevor does at least make a little bit more money than he had before. And that means that I guess now this is not really as suited to him. I guess he's perhaps not so much of a materialistic person, and maybe he wants something that's a little nicer. So I think that it's probably not the best suited thing for him, but I don't want anything that is too crazy either. So we need to think of something that could suit Trevor, that isn't too special, but isn't too shit, and is nicer than the truck he already has. Which is quite a specific thing, actually. I need to give this one a bit of thought. Okay, so here is my first idea. Now, I know this isn't really going to work. So this is one of the police cars that we had from Canada. Now, I know this suits Trevor because he's Canadian, and I thought maybe he might go for like an out-of-use police car or something. but sadly all the snow isn't really going to cut it in this nice sunny beachy setting, so this isn't really going to do, which is a shame. If we had a car that didn't have all of the sort of snow on it, but it had the North Yankton graphics and stuff, I think that would have been quite a good match for Trevor, but sadly we don't have any of that on offer. But I'm thinking that he might want to go for some sort of like ex-military, ex-emergency type vehicle. I mean, we've got something like the Crusader, which is, I guess that's sort of ex-army, but I think it's too clean and modern for what I think Trevor would probably go for. So I think actually most of these emergency vehicles probably won't suit him as they are quite modern. However, I think we did actually have something that quite fitted inside of the GTA 4 cars that we added into GTA 5. So if I try to look through some of these, I think there is possibly... What have we got in the D-Class Merit? What is this going to be? Oh, mind you, actually, that's still too new, isn't it? That might not really be what we're looking for here. I mean, now, we could get the D-Class Premier, as that could have been some sort of, like, ex-police car or something like that, like an old Chevy Caprice, but no. I think that's perhaps a bit too civilian for Trevor's tastes. We could also go for the Sabre. I mean, it's rusty, it's supposed to look old, but again, I think it's perhaps not nice enough considering the amount of extra money that Trevor has to spend. And perhaps, again, maybe just a bit too pedestrian. Now, this is slightly more like it. A car that when you drive down the road, all of the civilians look and scream and run away in terror. This is such a typical Trevor vehicle. And I think, actually, this is quite suited. It's not going to work with all of the missions, especially the ones where you have to take multiple people. We're not going to get sort of people in the back like you would have in the truck. So I can see that there is going to be some issues with missions and all that sort of stuff. But I think as a vehicle that Trevor would buy and own with all of his extra money, I think this one is absolutely perfect. Let's just start shooting some shit. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Now, apparently, this weapon is actually out of the Valkyrie. I had no idea. I don't think I've ever used the Valkyrie before, so that's probably why I did... Oh, wow, they went flying. That's probably why I didn't recognize it. But this is just absolutely great and completely perfect for Trevor. But actually, I don't think I'm going to be adding this one as his main car, as I think maybe this is just a bit too much. But this is definitely something that I could see Trevor buying and having a lot of fun with. Mind you, it's already blown up, so, yeah, we should probably find something else. Now, here's something I think Trevor might like, and that is the Imponte Phoenix short variant from GTA 4. This is very sort of muscle car, it's very Trevor, but again, it's just too nice. I want something, I have such a specific viewpoint of what could be perfect for Trevor that I just don't know. Oh, look, it's crashed again. Lovely. Yeah, actually, I have been getting some issues with crashing, which might have something to do with the fact that I've assigned vehicles that don't really work with these characters, at least in story mode. So, maybe probably advisable to go for the typical four-door cars if you were to try this out. But again, I wanted to have the whole fantasy of this video just to see what is the perfect vehicle for these characters. So, I'm just going to try and sort of cope with it. So, this is my next idea, and this is the Lurcher, and I think this has got Trevor written all over it. It's an ex-hearse, which again is quite Trevor. It's something that he might have bought with his money, and there's a guy hanging out of the coffin looking through the back window. I think this was actually supposed to be like a special Halloween car for GTA Online, but this looks absolutely amazing in single player anyway, and I think this is something that is quite Trevor as well. But I think maybe he would want something a bit more military. And by military, I could actually mean this Karen pickup truck that has this big machine gun in the bed. It's a little bit smaller than his previous pickup truck, and I think maybe Trevor wouldn't go for something that's smaller than he's already got. But that is something that, again, is quite military, and I think does suit Trevor quite well. Oh my god. Are we going to fall? Yeah, we fell. Great. Well, let's try and pick something else. Okay, so maybe another idea I've had is using this tow truck. I mean, it's quite similar in style to the truck that he previously had, but it is bigger, it is meatier, and it's actually got a use for it, which I think is something that Trevor might like. Maybe he just wanted a bit of money so he could tow cars. Mind you, he does steal cars and he does crazy stuff, so Maybe that is a bit too mundane for him. And now we come on to the Brickade, which is one of the new things that was added in the latest GTA 5 update. And actually, I've just noticed, look, there's one of the clean versions of Trevor's truck. That's pretty cool. So I think that this is sort of a bit too new and nice, but I think this really fits in with what Trevor might like to have. It's sort of big, it's useful, and it's a step up from what he already has. And in fact, he could probably still keep the pickup truck he has, I mean, in the sort of dream world that I'm imagining. But for the sake of this, I think this is quite a Trevor vehicle, but it is a bit too clean, and I think we might be able to change that. So let's just go through to the menus mod, and hopefully we can change the colour of this thing. So let's go to menus customs. We can actually apparently change the wheels, but I don't think we will actually. So we can go for an upgrade on the engine, upgrade on the brakes, upgrade on the transmission, because of course this can't be tuned in Los Santos Customs, but thankfully we have the menu customs feature for us to do that, so we don't have to go through the garage and stuff because it doesn't really work. We can go for competition suspension, which is, hang on, let's just pull over to the side so we can see if this makes any difference whatsoever. Here we go. Ah, it does. Well, okay. We can stick some armor on, 100% armor. Paints. Okay, so I'm going to go to primary, and also one of the cool things with menus customs is we have the utility and worn paints, so you wouldn't be able to get inside of the normal paint and spray thing when we're using the Los Santos Customs garage. So if we go to maybe utility, I think we might find a good one. Apparently this is supposed to be pearl steel. We can go to pearl gold. Oh wow, okay. It's still a bit shiny, so I think we need to change that. So I think actually worn would be a better choice. There we go. These are sort of semi-matte paints in a sort of faded colour most of the time. Maybe we could find something that would suit Trevor a bit better. I mean, something like this dark blue. If actually, I don't know. I think that's still a bit too fancy. I think we might have to go for the matte. Although straw beige is kind of... It makes it look a bit ex-military, actually. And I think that might be a good idea. Or we can go for orange, yellow, or green. Actually, the green. See, that's a sort of, like... old army colour as well. In fact, we could just go for olive drab. I mean, those colours are cool and everything, but I think we might just go for the classic old matte olive drab. Yeah, there we go. It's a bit darker. It's more matte. I think that is going to work. What else can we do to this thing then? Well, I don't think it's going to be a secondary colour, so let's just see. Oh, we do actually. It changes the bottom part. So, black. Maybe that'll work. Maybe we can go for a matte olive drab. What's it look like all over? Yeah, that doesn't look as great. So I think actually a grey might work for that, as it looks like a slightly faded bit of plastic, but that's going to be too faded. So black's too thick. I think grey is a really good middle ground, so I'm going to go for that. And also, I don't think we have a paint fade on this. No, but we do have a dirt level. So I'm going to make this nice and dirty as well. And in fact, now I've done that, let's just go back and see what it looks like with one of those different paints. Let's go back to the worn one and see what we have here. Actually, these aren't too bad. Yeah, these aren't too bad. What about that shadow silver? Mind you, that's quite similar to what we already had. Or we can go for the reds. Actually, no, I think olive drab is actually going to be the best, so we're just going to go for that. So we don't have to worry about neons or doors or windows. I think, are we going to have any tinted windows in the front, I guess? Yeah, we can do that. Let's just go for some tinted windows in the front, just to make it a bit more secure. And a turbo. I don't know if we've got any extras. Apparently we have one extra, which is... Oh, it's the bull bar on the front. Well, of course we want the bull bar on the front. We'll keep that on there. And we'll change the plate to Trev, without the hashtag. There we go. And actually, there's no plate on it. Is there? There's no plate on it, so it doesn't really matter. And I think, actually, I feel that Trevor might be able to do something to the engine, or at least he'll get Franklin to do something. So I'm going to turn the torque multiplier up to 2. Not the Turk multiplier, sorry, I was watching Scrubs earlier. And I'll stick the lights on, because I think it looks cool with all the lights on. So that is it. Proper Trevorized, and... Wow, okay, that's actually really fast for a truck. You know, I think this is absolutely perfect. So now we can go to F7, and then we can go to Save Current Vehicle. There we go. Vehicle is now saved. So now we should be able to save and load the game, and this should appear outside of Trevor's trailer. So I'm going to get out here, so it's not exactly next to Trevor's house, but as we get out, we should have the blue car. Actually, it's going to be an orange, isn't it, for Trevor? We're going to have the orange car appearing on the map. So now, hopefully, we can go save and load this thing, and it should be parked outside. So now that we've reloaded the game, we should be able to go outside and look at that right there. This thing is actually bigger than Trevor's trailer. Almost. Actually, I think maybe the trailer's a bit longer, but this is definitely more bigger. More bigger? It's just bigger and more imposing. Check that out. Amazing. So that is now Trevor's new vehicle. Wow. Okay, so that is going to be it. I would love for you guys to let me know in the comment section below, what do you think is the most perfect Trevor vehicle in the game? What is the most perfect Michael vehicle in the game? And also, what do you think is the most perfect Franklin vehicle in the game? I would love for you guys to let me know in the comment section. And I'll include the GTA 4 cars in this because, well, I've been using GTA 4 cars for Franklin's car at least. So I guess I'll allow you guys to say GTA 4 cars as well. Not so much real cars because I think that, nah. I don't know. Well, maybe you can go for a real car. Maybe there's a real car that you think just suits them absolutely perfect, which is not in the game. I'd love for you guys to let me know in the comment section below. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all for watching. And can I just quickly say that I've been having a lot of issues with recording lately. This video has actually sort of spanned 4 days between the first half and the second half of this video because I've been having so many issues trying to get all the recording and stuff to work. But I'm hoping, because I think I've actually solved the problem, so we should be alright from now on. Hopefully. I'm going to say hopefully. I don't want to jinx it. But thank you guys for sticking around. You're all amazing. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.